Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 32 of Saturday Serial. I am Stephen from Deleted Scenes, and as you can see, I am once again hosting the show solo. But there is a very good reason for this. Our friend Matt Allen is getting married tomorrow. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the twin flames will be together forever. Wish I could be there, but unfortunately I could not. But the good news is I'm here to host this show for you. And we're going to have a good one. It's going to be a lot of fun. We are going to be talking about news of the week, including some very interesting casting news. I want to welcome everyone who is joining us here today in the chat and in the replay in case you missed us live. I hope everyone is doing well out there today. I'm doing pretty well. As you all may know, I have a new job, which is why I have not been in the chats as much as I normally have been. But I'm doing pretty well, and I hope everyone else is too. All right. Does anybody have anything anybody in the chat have anything that maybe they'd like to talk about or like to say hello before we get started? Uh, as usual, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. My own channel is now up and running, and I'm going to put that link in the chat before the end of the show. And as usual, if there are any video or sound issues, please let me know in the chat. Because, like Matt, I'm in an area where there's not the best internet. But anyway, enough about that. We're going to move on to our first story. This, of course, is the weekly catch up from Mr. Greg Dean Smits of Rotten Tomatoes. And it would help if I could add that to the stream. The stream. My bad. I had the boomer, one of them. Bill Skarsgård, aka Pennywise Fomit, is now the Crow, and more movie news. New projects for a bunch of folks, including John Cena, Gary Oldman, Laura Dern, Tommy Lee Jones, and a trio of up-and-comers in a new film from A24. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we have some royalty with us. Paulie from Latino Slant. Thank you very much for being here. Paulie has an interesting video out last night called This Is Not America, which I advise everyone to check out. And also, please go, if you are not yet subbed to his channel, please do so. Paulie, it's great to see you. We're about ready to catch up on some entertainment news here, including Bill Skarsgård being cast in the apparent remake of The Crow, a movie that has had a kind of a rather troubled behind-the-scenes history. Jason Momoa was at one point cast. Now he's out and Bill Skarsgård is in. Okay, I'm going to... get to the story. Bill Skarsgård, cast as the Crow. The 1994 comic book adaptation, The Crow, was a pop culture sensation at the time, partly because The onset death of its star, Brandon Lee, cast a shadow over the film similar to the one left by Heath Ledger over The Dark Knight. Attempts at sequels with other actors were made in 2000 and 2005 with less than desirable results. Various producers have been trying to reboot The Crow since 2005, including a period when Jason Momoa was reportedly being considered. Now, 28 years after the film and 17 years after the third, wow, I can't believe it's been that long, we finally have a new actor enlisted to reboot The Crow, and all signs suggest that this time the reboot will actually happen. The new actor cast as Eric Draven, aka The Crow, is Bill Skarsgård, who is probably best known for his portrayal of Pennywise the Clown in It Chapter 2. The Crow reboot will be directed by Rupert Sanders, whose filmography includes the fairy tale retelling Snow White and the Huntsman, and the live-action adaptation of the anime classic Ghost in the Shell. The fiancé character that drives much of the motivation behind the crew. Yes, I've now renamed it The Crew. No, Crew. All right. Sorry. It's early, folks. I have not had enough coffee. The fiance character that drives much of the motivation behind The Crow will be portrayed by British singer FKA Twigs in a role that is reportedly being upgraded to more of a co-lead alongside Skarsgård. Okay, a couple of things right off. Number one, The Crow does not need to be rebooted. And I don't like the idea of the Shelley Webster character being moved up to a co-lead, because what's that going to mean? Is he going to see her as some sort of ghostly apparition? Will she be fighting beside him? Because that would be kind of pointless. Because the whole story is he's doing it because she's gone. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this one. Chat, what do you think of Bill Skarsgård being cast as Eric in a Crow reboot? Do you think there should be a reboot? What do you think of FKA Twigs being cast as Shelley, who apparently is going to have a much bigger part in this version? I got mixed feelings on this one, folks. So please let me know in the chat what you think. We're going to move on to story number 2. Speaking of devil, Jason Momoa reveals Charlize Theron's return in Fast 10. On one hand, there are certain casting reveals that trailers are almost certainly going to confirm. One recent example was the reveal of Alfred Molina as Doc Ock returning into Spider-Man No Way Home trailers. But sometimes actors will reveal things in interviews that could arguably be considered spoilers. We're going to guess that this week's reveal by Jason Momoa about Fast 10, set to be released in May of 2023, is in the former category. Talking about joining the Fast and Furious franchise as a new villain to Entertainment Tonight, Momoa said, quote, "He's amazing, he's ornery, he's misunderstood. I get to shoot with some really cool people that I've never. I get to work with Charlize Theron first up, which I'm really excited about. She's amazing." The reveal here, of course, is that Charlize Theron is apparently returning for Fast 10 after appearing in the 2 previous films as Cypher in The Fate of the Furious and F9. It wasn't too big a surprise, considering her character survived the last film and escaped. but her role hasn't been officially confirmed yet. The other known new cast member in Fast 10 will be Daniela Melchior, who's probably best known for playing Ratcatcher 2 in the Suicide Squad last year. Okay, so, some casting news for Fast 10. Rumored to be possibly the last in the franchise. And I have some catching up to do because I have seen none of them after the first one. All right. Well, the reviews for the Fast and Furious movies have been mixed. You know, some have been more popular than others for sure. I heard mixed things about F9. Like I said, I didn't see it. I can't judge it. But a little mindless entertainment right now wouldn't hurt us. And if the Fast and Furious movies are filling that particular void, hey, more power to them. Okay, so Jason Momoa confirming Charlize Theron is going to be back for the next film. We're going to go back to the chat. Friend of the channel, Pacific 414 is with us. Good morning, Pacific. Saying morning, Stephen and Latino Slant. Yes, if you are joining us late, Matt and Julie are getting married tomorrow. If you wish to give them in lieu of presents, please go to the GoFundMe link, which I have posted in the chat. All right, we're going to move on to our next story. Eddie Murphy's return in Beverly Hills Cop 4, revving up at Netflix. It's now been 2.5 years since we first heard that Netflix was developing Beverly Hills Cop 4, with Eddie Murphy expected to return. At the time, the directors of Bad Boys for Life were expected to direct Beverly Hills Cop 4. What changed in that period, however, is that those directors, Adil El Arabi and Bilal Fallah, have since switched instead to the Disney Plus series Ms. Marvel and the DC Comics Batgirl movie for HBO Max. We now know that the director that Netflix has recruited to replace them is Mark Malloy, a director of commercials for companies like Apple, who will be making his feature film debut with Beverly Hills Cop 4. It is not yet known if anyone else in the franchise might join Eddie Murphy in the fourth film, nor do we know who will make up the new cast members. I got a bit of a bone to pick with this one, and I promise I'm not going to go off on a rant. But the directors, the original set directors, El Arabi and Fallah, are also proteges of Will Smith. And I gotta wonder if in the attempt to punish him, that the directors are not collateral damage. They're taken off of this movie for a fellow who I'm sure is competent, but is a relative nobody. And I mean, you could use Batgirl and Miss Marvel as an excuse, but they've both already been shot or are almost finished. I think we have to read between the lines on this one. I think they're being I think they're being unduly punished and have been taken off of this film because of their connection, however tenuous, to Will Smith. And I think we got to keep that in mind. Now I'm not saying that there wasn't some sort of scheduling conflict, but man, this is sus. It is damn suspicious, and I got to think that they're getting caught in the switch here, and hopefully they'll get another feature film soon. If it's not going to be Beverly Hills Cop 4, hopefully it'll be something else. Obviously, there's not going to be another Bad Boys film, not for a good long while, if at all. Because my understanding was there was supposed to be a fourth Bad Boys. That's now not going to happen. Will Smith has been dropped by the studio. I understand he's been dropped by his agents. He's been suspended from the Academy for 10 years. They're not going to make him give his Oscar back, I don't think, because they would have to go to Harvey Weinstein and Roman Polanski and make them give their Oscars back, and I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to do it. Paulie says they are so tied to Smith. Fallout. Absolutely. Yeah. This is collateral damage from Will Smith, and and you could say it's already happened to the people who are going to work on Bad Boys 4, because that movie's now been canceled. All right, well, we'll have to stay tuned and see if there is any more fallout. Because I think there's definitely going to be. And, the whole situation is sad. I'm not going to talk about Will Smith's marriage enough. There are enough YouTube channels that are already doing that, and what's going on behind the scenes in a man's life is plain as day. And I'm not going to add to. I'm not going to add to it. It's clear. It's clear the man is troubled. It's clear what the source of the trouble is. And you guys don't need me to spell it out. It's clear. It's obvious. My personal message to Will Smith would be: you have a chance to get your life back together now. Please take this opportunity to do so. I believe that he can come back from this in some fashion. Obviously, it's not going to be right now, but maybe sometime down the line. And I'm not saying that he has to come back to acting or into the music world. But I hope he can get his personal act together and come back in some fashion. People have come back from far worse. And also, there are worse guys in Hollywood than Will Smith. Trust me on that. There are far worse people. All right. I promise not to go off on a rant, so I'm going to move on. To our next story, which will hopefully be a happier story. A24 casts 3 rising stars as their governesses. A24 has established something of a following based on both its various horror films, including The Witch, Hereditary, and Midsummer, and its prestige awards-friendly films like The Tragedy of Macbeth, Uncut Gems, and The Farewell. One new film project that we can probably add to the latter category is The Governesses. Let me try that again. The Governesses. I am never going to get that right. That's too many S's. The second film from writer-director Joe Talbot, who made his debut in 2019 with The Last Black Man in San Francisco. To play the 3 title characters, A24 and Talbot have enlisted 3 young actresses who have all starred or co-starred in recent, much-talked-about projects. Ho Leon Young of Netflix's Squid Game and The Weeknd's just released music video for Out of Time. Renata Reinsieve of the Norwegian Academy Award nominee to Worst Person in the World, and a name I won't mess up, Lily Rose Depp, Johnny Depp's daughter and co-star of films like Tusk, Yoga Hosers, Wolf, and the upcoming HBO series The Idol, based upon a novel by Anne Sari. The governesses will revolve around 3 rebellious governesses. Oh, they're going to make me say this word a bunch in this article, aren't they? Who upend a household they work in, inspiriting the minds of the boys in their care, igniting the imaginations of the bohemian couple who employ them, and abandoning their charges for erotic adventures. Like, wow. Okay. Yeah. This is going to be. Yeah, this is A24, all right. The Governesses will be filmed in Spain and was co-written by Talbot with poet and novelist Olivia Gatewood, who is best known for her book of feminist poems called The Life of the Party. Okay. Well, this is all right. Well, keep one hand free, boys. That's all I gotta say. This one sounds like this might get a little adult on us. I don't know what to say. It's a little early in the morning for this, but okay. I'm up for anything. Okay, The Governesses, new from A24. Okay, chat, what do you think? Does this sound interesting? Have you seen Squid Game? What did you think? Did you see The Worst Person in the World? Because I have not, and I have some catching up to do, clearly. All right. Okay, you see, we turned it around. We went from being a little sad to, okay, that was fun. Let's see what the next story does. Yes, one of my favorite actors. Gary Oldman joins the ever-expanding cast of Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. Yes, those of you who are fans of the show know we have been following the casting news on Oppenheimer for the past few months now. And now Gary Oldman has joined the list, and man, this has Oscar bait written all over it. This is going to be huge, folks. Everybody in Hollywood just about is going to be in this thing. So let's move on to the story. The cast of Christopher Nolan's nuclear bomb biopic Oppenheimer continues to expand, not unlike a nuclear reaction. And we may be reaching the point where it's easier to say who isn't in the movie. Just to give you a top 10, the cast so far includes Cillian Murphy as J. Robert Oppenheimer himself, Emily Blunt, Kenneth Branagh, Matt Damon, David Dastmalchian, Dane DeHaan, Robert Downey Jr., Rami Malek, Florence Pugh, and Benny Safdie. We can now add to that cast list Gary Oldman, who's reportedly only in one scene and a page and a half of screenplay. And also two young actors in Christopher Denham and Josh Zuckerman. Oppenheimer is currently scheduled for release July 21st, 2023 by Universal Pictures. All right, wow. This article is correct. It'll be easier to say who isn't in the movie at this point. Okay, we have 3 new cast members announced, including Gary Oldman, who apparently will only be in one scene, and it looks like everybody in this movie is going to be somebody. Dane DeHaan's casting is new. We have these 2 young actors. We have Christopher Denham now in the movie, Josh Zuckerman now in the movie. And this is going to be huge, folks. Wow. And here's the other thing. They're still casting. This might not be this might, we may I wouldn't be surprised if we got casting news before the end of the show. So many that's wow. Okay, so Gary Oldman, Dane DeHaan, among others, joining the cast of Oppenheimer. Okay, chat. What do you think? Are you interested in seeing Oppenheimer, or are you not yet convinced? Christopher Nolan has pulled together quite a cast, and he doesn't seem to be done yet. Every week, someone new is added to the film. All right, we're going to move on to our next story. John Cena assigned cop comedy Officer Exchange. Take a quick sip of tea here. Smoke them if you got them. All right. Every once in a while, an action star will figure out how to mix their physical gifts with a sense of humor about both themselves and the films in which they're starring. As evidenced most recently by his work in The Suicide Squad and its HBO spin-off series Peacemaker, WWE wrestler turned movie star John Cena has firmly established himself as one of those muscle-bound action stars with a sense of humor. For his next project, Cena will get another opportunity to showcase his comedy chops as he will star in a police action comedy called Officer Exchange for Amazon Studios and Prime Video, in which he will play, quote, a wrecking ball of a cop named Shep who ends up in India, where he must help a fellow Indian police officer go up against a diamond smuggling ring. It is not yet known whether or not Officer Exchange will actually be filmed in India, though it certainly sounds like it should be. All right, John Cena involved in another action comedy, apparently possibly to be shot in India. City by the Sea, India. Land of Lakes, they call it. City that never sleeps, India. Amazing Jonathan, rest in peace. That one was for you. All right, John Cena in an upcoming action comedy. Chat, if I haven't scared you off and you're still there, uh, are you a John Cena fan? Did you like Peacemaker? Did you like Suicide Squad? Are you looking forward to this movie? Are you wishing that Matt were back to host the show right now? Oh, all right. Let me know in the comments. I want to once again thank everyone in the chat who's joining us and everyone who might be lurking. We had Paulie from Latino Slant here with us earlier. We also had Pacific 414 with us. So they both have great channels. Please, please, please sub to them. My channel is also up and running at Deleted Scenes. And please do not forget to make sure you are subscribed to this channel, Bud Boy Productions, which I have taken over as part of my master plan to take over YouTube one channel at a time. For those of you who are joining us late, Matt and Julie are getting married tomorrow. They have a GoFundMe page that they have sent up in lieu of gifts. So please give to the GoFundMe. It's in the chat. Every cent counts, and it's our chance to help some good people out. I'm kind of bummed that I'm not going to get to go to but no, don't worry about little old me. It's their day. They deserve it. It's been a long time coming, and I couldn't be happier for them. I like it when we have some good news to talk about. All right. We don't have enough good news on YouTube. We gotta start doing that more. Good vibes. This is what this show is about. This show's about good vibes. And all right, we're going to move on to our next story. Tommy Lee Jones and Ben Foster to headline long in development Finest Kind. All right. When the film Finest Kind was first announced in 2018, the stars were to have been Jake Gyllenhaal, Ansel Elgort, and Zendaya. 4 years later, the project has now been picked up by Paramount Plus. And the stars are to be Tommy Lee Jones, Ben Foster, Toby Wallace, and Jenna Ortega, star of the recent horror films Scream and X. Yes, Jenna Ortega is everywhere. Trying to match up the cast, it appears likely that Tommy Lee Jones wasn't cast yet in 2018, and that the other three line up as Jake Gyllenhaal to Ben Foster, Ansel Elgort to Toby Wallace, and Zendaya to Jenna Ortega. Finest Kind will be directed by writer-director Brian Helgeland when it starts filming later this month on location at the Fish Ports of Massachusetts. Something smells fishy here. Sorry. I don't get points for that one. Initially described as a crime drama in 2018, the emphasis now appears to be more on the story of commercial fishermen, a la recent Best Picture winner Coda. Though the premise still has crime elements. It revolves around two brothers who strike a deal with a Boston crime syndicate that involves a young woman who gets caught in the middle. Finest Kind is expected to debut on Paramount Plus late this year, possibly as part of this year's awards season. Okay, so we have possible Oscar bait here. Another good cast for this one as well. All right, so chat, Finest Kind. What do you think? It's been recast. It's shooting. It's up and running, and it's going to be on Paramount Plus and theaters late this year. Okay, so what do you think? Does this sound interesting to you? It certainly does to me. Did you see Coda? What did you think of that? Are you a fan of any of the actors? Are you familiar with Brian Helgeland? Um, he's an Oscar-winning screenwriter for adapting L.A. Confidential. I tend to like the movies he's involved with. He did also write and direct Knight's Tale and 42 with Chadwick Boseman. Um, this sounds good. I'm interested. I'd like to hear more. We're going to keep our eye out on future news for Finest Kind. Moving on, Laura Dern and Liam Hemsworth to star Netflix romance. It is not yet clear if the film in question is a May-December romance, but Liam Hemsworth, age 32, and Laura Dern, age 55, are now attached to star in romantic drama for Netflix called Lonely Planet. It's also unknown if the title refers to the Lonely Planet series of travel books. Both it and Hemsworth are Australian, incidentally. But the project being filmed and set in Morocco suggests that might be the case. Not much else is known right now about the film's premise, except that it will be directed by Susanna Grant, who directed 2 episodes of Unbelievable, and who wrote such films as Steven Soderbergh's Aaron Brockovich and the Sandra Bullock romance 28 Days, and co-wrote the 2006 Charlotte's Web and Disney's Pocahontas. Okay, 2 more Oscar nominees attached to a new project. I've been hearing inklings that there was going to be a movie based on Lonely Planet, and now it's here. I wonder if anyone will say anything about the age difference between the 2 leads. It's interesting to say the least. This could be good. If you're a fan of romantic dramas, we have a sort of a May-December thing figuring in as well. Could be good. Could be good. If nothing else, the fact that it's going to be set around a world of travel, it may very well look good. It's going to look good for sure. Okay, this is going to be another one to keep an eye on. Moving on to our next story. Kerry Washington and Omar Sy to star in action thriller Shadow Force. All right. French actor Omar Sy has appeared in several Hollywood productions, like X-Men Days of Future Past and Jurassic World, but he's probably still best known for his 2011 French comedy hit The Untouchables, which was remade 6 years later as The Upside. Sy's profile may rise higher with his latest project, which will be an action thriller called Shadow Force. Starring alongside Kerry Washington, Shadow Force will be directed by Joe Carnahan for Lionsgate and will tell the story of an estranged couple with a bounty on their heads who must go on the run with their son to avoid their former employer, a shadow ops unit that has been sent to kill them. All right. So, another story of former Spec Ops members now on the run from their former unit. Been done. Been done for sure. But I tell you, I'm a fan of Joe Carnahan. And one thing about his movies is that they are never boring. They are never boring. Narc is excellent. It got a lot of comparisons to Training Day. Some say it's better. I agree that it is. Boss Level was a lot of fun. One of the better movies from last year. Joe Carnahan also directed last year Cop Shop, which is a movie that Matt and I have talked about to great length here on the show. We were both fans of that one. And I'd also like to highly recommend The Gray with Liam Neeson. That is an excellent movie. And I still think probably Carnahan's best movie. Okay, Shadow Force. Kerry Washington and Omar Sy starring, Joe Carnahan directing. I'm definitely going to give this one a look. We're going to keep an eye out. This is going to be another one to keep an eye out on. Going to move on to our next story. And we are back to Will Smith. Will Smith's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad week. Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say. We won't get into the overreported details about what happened during the Best Documentary Feature presentation at the Academy Awards. You probably already know anyway. Yes, we do. Our focus instead will be on a quick rundown of what effects Slapgate appear to be having on Will Smith's future film projects. One of those projects is Fast and Loose, which was to have been an action thriller for Netflix with Deadpool 2 director David Leitch attached. Reportedly, before Slapgate even happened, Leitch had dropped out, and now Netflix has put the project on the back burner altogether. Sony has also put Bad Boys 4 on pause as well, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast. As for what Leitch will do next, the director is reportedly now preparing to film Fall Guy, starring Ryan Gosling, this fall instead. Jojo Siwa has also exited the Will Smith-produced YA movie Bounce. Although, again, this is also being described as a decision that was made before Slapgate. Right. Sure it is. While we're on the subject, chat, if you could please tell this old man who Jojo Siwa is and why she's suddenly so important in Hollywood, please let me know. Because I would never have heard of her if it weren't for Will Smith, so she should be thanking him. Okay. As it currently stands, the one movie that Will Smith definitely still has coming at some point is the runaway slave true story Emancipation, which is already filmed and had been expected to be streamed on Apple TV this fall as part of award season. Emancipation will also be the first film to test the Academy's just announced 10-year ban on Will Smith attending their events, because he remains eligible for Academy Award nominations and wins throughout that period. Okay. Well, emancipation is still happening, uh, but Will Smith's other upcoming projects obviously no longer. Um, okay, we're not going to spend too much time on this. We talked about this earlier in the show. Um, yeah, I just hope that Will Smith can get his life back together. Um, that the directors of Bad Boys 4 won't be affected by this any more than they have. Um, and this also kind of does a disservice to the people involved in emancipation, because I'm kind of worried that maybe Apple TV will drop it. You will people still go to see a movie with Will Smith attached? That remains to be seen. Right? Because like I said earlier, it's the collateral damage that I'm personally worried about. People are going to get affected by this who didn't do a damn thing wrong. Um, all right. Well, like I said, I'm not going to go off on a rant. That we're going to be a happy show. We're going to be a happy show. And okay, that appears to have been the last story. Okay, so JoJo Siwa, whoever she is, has dropped out of a film to be produced by Will Smith. The director has dropped out of another one of his projects. Netflix has dropped that film. We also have casting news involving Tommy Lee Jones, Ben Foster, Kerry Washington, Omar Sy, Jason Momoa. It was basically a lot of casting news this week. Uh, some long gestating projects now coming to fruition. Uh, some others that are unfortunately no longer happening. All right. Well, that is the week in entertainment news, brought to us once again by Mr. Greg Dean Smits of Rotten Tomatoes. All right, so, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, or those who are watching on the replay, if you have any opinions on today's news, please drop it in the chat or in the comment section. For anyone who might be joining us here mid-broadcast, Matt and Julie are getting married on Sunday. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the number one and only story this week. We're very happy for them. Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend. But it's going to be a great day. It's their day. They deserve it. It's a long time coming. So please help give to their wedding fund on GoFundMe. This is in lieu of gifts, and I'm going to be keeping this on the screen for the duration. So please chip in any way that you can. I have some news. I have been. I'm working. I'm back among the employed, and I'm very happy about that. I'm working with a really great group of people, and as opposed to the last group of people who I worked with who were not so good. But enough about that. And I was out of work for a year, and I basically got canceled. Uh, to make a long story short, but I'm back to work now and working for some people who don't care what your politics are. You know, just as long as you do the job, which is what any job should be about. All right, and I'm going to drop a quick movie review on you. Last night I saw the found footage horror movie God Forsaken, and it's actually pretty good. It's about this documentary filmmaker who returns to his hometown in Canada to attend a funeral of a friend, and in the middle of the funeral, she wakes up and pops out of the casket, and silliness ensues. You know, and it's kind of a cross between The Unholy and Wreck. And I don't want to say much more about it than that. But it's very creepy. It does not rely on jump scares. It's pretty well done. Uh, if they had a bigger budget, there are a couple of things that they probably could have done a little bit better. But still, in all, I would recommend it. It's on VOD, and you can find it also here on YouTube on the Kings of Horror channel. I would give it 3 stars out of 5. I'm recommending it, and it's well worth a look. And it's short. It's only about 77 minutes, but trust me, that those 77 minutes fly by pretty quick. Alrighty, so I'm going to wrap it up here. I want to thank. Oh, hold on. Paulie is still with us. I was afraid of. Good job on the news, although I hear Will Smith has checked into a high luxury rehab. I think these actions of shutting out his movies are completely insane, but typical Hollywood virtue signaling. Absolutely. Yeah, this is absolutely virtue signaling. Um, but then again, honestly, what do we expect out of mainstream Hollywood? And I almost hate saying mainstream Hollywood because I don't want to paint everybody in Hollywood with that brush. You know, much of Hollywood is woker than Wokerton, and they're worried about image and status. Not everyone, for sure. Um, Paulie and I can name a few people who are not down with this woke business. But yeah, I mean, for sure. And like I said, hopefully this rehab stay will be good for Will. He needs to. He has people in his life that he needs to get away from. And that's all I'm going to say to that end of things. He has people in his life that he needs to get away from, who are dragging him down. And but to cancel out the movies that he's involved with, I don't like the idea of that either. because it's not just him. You're punishing the people that he worked with for something that they weren't involved with, and I don't like that. Um, the directors of from his Bad Boys movie being pulled off of not just Bad Boys 4, but one other movie. And for what? They did nothing wrong. So yeah, Hollywood, get your act together. Please get your act together. This is why I say support independent media. You know, support movies like Old Henry, like God Forsaken, TV shows like Promised Land. Um, which doesn't have a woke thing about it and actually takes the time to tell a story and has good characters and is original. And we've been talking about we want more original, original content out of Hollywood. And now's the time to do that. Now's the time to support independent media and original stories, and support people like Matt Lopez, who's the creator of Promised Land. There's an original voice that we're now finally getting to hear. The director of God Forsaken, I think, is a first-time director. He's going to be a major force. So yeah. And once again, I went off on a rant, which I didn't mean to do. But okay. So I want to thank Paulie for being with us. Please subscribe to Latino Slant. We had Pacific 414 with us here earlier. Please give to Matt and Julie's Wedding Fund. I'm going to put that back up on the screen. My own channel, Deleted Scenes, is now up and running. And once I get a couple of technical bugs worked out, I might finally be able to actually go live myself. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Okay, so to everyone in the chat, to Paulie, to Pacific, to everyone who's lurking, to everyone who's watching us on replay, to Matt and Julie, I bid you all a good day.